Hello and welcome again. It's July 17, 2025. The year is almost more than a half old. Half of it is gone and it's in the second half right now entering. What's so special? It's still cloudy and I believe it's going to remain like this till Sunday. And today is Thursday, tomorrow is Friday. I hope that I remember getting flowers for my grandfather's grave because I had to visit the grave tomorrow morning. So that's what I do on Fridays. Most of them, not all of them. What else? I was talking to someone about a book I read several years back, naming Museum of Innocence. The book became my favorite for several reasons because it took me to the wildest imaginations, and the story of love embedded in the book is a way it is sort of melancholic. The dreadness, the fear, the sort of I just cannot describe it. It seems very I cannot find a word. If I did, I'll say it in the next sentence. So what reminded me of the book was yesterday while doing the meditation, when I closed my eyes, I felt as if I was a living character of that book. Particularly because when I talked to someone about that book, I couldn't quite remember it at that time about the apartment or the house Mr. Kamal had gone with the fusion. And when I closed my eyes in a meditation, I could remember the entire house. They had it was a small house, I believe 2-storied, and they went to the upper story. And it was his mother's house. It contained the artifacts of the collections from her mother's passion. She purchased many things from different places as souvenirs or something that interested her, and they were kept in that house. It was dusty in the beginning, and it had a big backyard garden wherein the children used to play football and other games. One particular scene came to me was where they had to go for a sacrificial feast wherein the sheep is sacrificed, and it is basically occasion of Eid al-Adha, where in Srinagar that we celebrate, where a sheep is sacrificed and its meat is distributed. We distribute it among relatives rather than distributing it among the poor people the way it otherwise is meant to be. So in that book it's written about the sacrificial sheep. So on that particular occasion, what Kamal and Fusion both are very small and they are distant relatives, and he recalls this story when he was old, and he said that I went to see the sacrifice of the sheep, and there were this janitor and the other person holding the sheep still so that it does not move, so that the other person holding the knife can move the knife on throat of a sheep and life is taken out. So when I was reading it, I was completely sort of visualizing everything as if that janitor and the other person or the cook were the people of my house. That's how we do it. Although they are not a janitor and the cook, they are someone who work odd jobs in our house like plumbing or repairing some certain things, or an electrician. And then maybe the butcher comes, he reads the takbir before cutting the throat of the sheep. And now as far as that house is concerned, it was a 2-story building with a big backyard wherein they sacrificed sheep, just like we did at our house, and then pouring its blood in a shallow hole that they just dig in the earth, and the blood gushes out. And in that house there was those big trees, shadowy, where the children used to play. And while they were inside making love, they used to hear the children talking. And I could remember a house. I haven't exactly imagined it, but then I feel like as if it has an old tin roof, rusty tin roof, and the backyard garden is having the grass at some places and bare patches at some places with the tall chinars, just like the house of one of our uncles. And they had a very big backyard. So that's how I imagined it. There are books which I read and they take me to a different realm, and you really enjoy when your imagination is strong. Even when I read Quran in the morning, and most of it is filled with the stories of different people, just like the story of an Ibrahim. The story of an Ibrahim is also mentioned in the Museum of Innocence. So in the book, when they were children, Kamal and Fusion, Kamal asks Fusion that, why do you think? First he asks, are you fearful that this animal was sacrificed? She says, she has a heart for an animal, she feels for him. And do you know why they are sacrificed? Asks the Kamal. And Fusion says, yes, so that when we die in a heaven, it can help us to cross that bridge which is as thin as here. So we call it Pul Sirat over here. And then the Kamal says, okay, there is more to the story. Actually, it was Hazrat Ibrahim, who is a prophet, who had no children, and he prays to God, you can please send me a child so that, and I'll do anything, whatever you want me to do in your way, I'll do that. So his wishes were granted. A son was born, naming Ismail, and then the Ismail, and he kisses him all the way because he is so much in love with his son. And one day a God appears in his dream and tells him to sacrifice Ismail. Now that he had told God that I'll do anything for you, he takes Ismail and to slit his throat with a knife, and tells him that it's a wish of a God, so we cannot do anything about it. So the time he was about to slit the throat, the Ismail gets converted into the sheep, and the sheep is sacrificed, and the Ismail watches over. So that is that is when God says to the Abraham that you passed the test. So that is the real story, and it's mentioned in the Quran also about the sacrifice. And there are many other stories which are mentioned in Quran. like I was reading the story of Moses or Musa when he bifurcates the river into two in order to evade from army of the Pharaoh. Anyways, I have reached to the gym, and this podcast journal has grown much longer than expected. We'll meet again in the next. Till then, take care of yourself and take care of those who take care of you.